afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session. My name is Trance, and presenting with me are Migs Pangan, Calumag, and Trix Coster. And together, we form the grade school team of Xavier School's Campus Ministry and Service Office. One of the roles of the Campus Ministry and Service Office, or the CMSO, is to provide students with experiences and opportunities to become men for and with others. And such activities include our service interactions. Today, we are here to share with you our experiences and takeaways from a year of conducting service interactions for kinder to grade 6 students. Before the pandemic, our service interactions were usually held on campus. The service interaction partners, or SIPs, spiraled outward from members of the students' immediate community, their yayas, drivers, maintenance personnel, and security guards of the school, to the members of the wider community, which included barangay workers, public safety officers, students of public elementary schools in San Juan, and the Aita community in Pampanga, and persons with disabilities, among others. Our typical program included a prayer service, relay games and getting to know activities, fellowship over snacks and lunch, sharing of talents, gift giving, and a processing session. Because of the pandemic and the shift to the online distance learning, we had to rethink how we conducted our programs.
Of course, the new setup provided us an opportunity to be creative and innovative. But at the same time, we also had to keep things simple and focused. So in the planning, execution, and processing of our service interactions, we made sure that we do not forget two important aspects. So our two non-negotiables are, first, we have spiritual dimension, and then second, we have social dimension. So let's go to spiritual dimension. We focus ourselves on developing Christian responsiveness born from a deep knowledge of oneself and the human situations in the light of the gospel. So like in the face-to-face setup, there had to be a prayer service. So how do we do the prayer service? So it's composed of opening prayer and song. Then we have the reading of the gospel, some sort of reflection, petitions, and then closing prayer and song. Both our students and their service interaction partners could actively participate by taking turns in leading the prayers. And then second, there had to be opportunities for interaction or the exchange of stories. So more than knowing about the plight of our service interaction partners, we want our students to come to a realization that even though they are different from their partners, they also share many similarities with them. So we also want them to realize that the stories of the service interaction partners are just some of the realities that other people experience. And finally, we want our students to recognize how God is present in them and in their service interaction partners, and how God is speaking to them through them during the interaction. And so we had to provide moments of reflection, and then we asked them to share their insights. As well, we give also opportunity for our interaction partners to also share their own insights during the service interaction itself. And lastly, we have the processing of experiences in the program. And then second dimension, we have the spiritual dimension. So we focus ourselves on providing opportunities to use their skills and talents in the service of others, learning to love the poor and the marginalized as their own brothers and sisters in Christ. We want our students to recognize that their partners or their service interaction partners are important members of the community, regardless of how simple or how demanding their roles may seem, and that they can learn a lot from them. So during the reflection, sharing of insights and processing session, we had to highlight the knowledge and virtues that they learn from their service interaction partners. In grade school, in Xavier School, we have what we call the Virtue Project. And we always emphasize that in every activity we do, or in every subject area that our students are having for each day. And lastly, we wanted to challenge them to think beyond the box. So how is that? That is thinking. We ask them to think and to plan on how they can apply their learnings and how they can be of service to others, even if they are at home.
After identifying the non-negotiables of our service interaction programs, let's dive deeper into the service interaction partners last school year and the experience of conducting the service interaction in an online setup. So we included our previous service interaction partners during the face-to-face setup. So this includes the yayas, including the students' learning managers for kinder, the school helpers for grade 1 and grade 2, the public safety officers for grade 3, and the ITA students for grade 5 to learn about their present realities, challenges, and contribution to the community, especially during this COVID crisis. The online setup also paved the way for opportunities to reach new partners and sectors regardless of their location. So this includes our partnership with Ecoteneo of Ateneo de Davao for grade 4, Cartwheel Foundation for grade 5, and the Deaf program of Eclaro Academy for the grade 6. It became an excellent opportunity for our students to meet, interact, and learn from people they don't usually encounter regularly. It also became an avenue for the students to talk about other issues in our society, including caring for the common home, showing concern for the marginalized, and relating with differently abled individuals. Since all the program elements are migrated online, we had to consider the kind of interaction our students and our partners can engage in, the duration of the activities, and the students' screen time. Our new formula for the service interaction includes the prayer service, which involves the students, teachers, and our partners. A plenary session, which includes some icebreaker activities, getting to know you activities, movement activities for younger grade levels, followed by an introduction of what will happen for the day. And instead of relay games, we played quiz games about the sector or the field where our partners belong. A health break is also added so that students can turn off their camera for a few minutes of stretching, and they can also grab a quick snack to be energized for the next part of the interaction. A breakout session is also set up. Before the pandemic, there would be one service interaction partner for every 2 students. And to adjust, we divided each class into 2 groups to make conversations more intimate and engaging for both students and guests. Processing of the activity, we also highlight the importance of the service interaction partners in the community and the virtues that we can learn from them. For the closing part of the service interaction, we allow the students to express their appreciation to our service interaction partners by saying thank you message to them or by sharing their talents through a class performance. To make the service interaction experience more interactive, we maximize the use of the following features or applications. So we use Google Slides for the getting to know icebreaker activity with the service interaction partners, the Zoom breakout rooms for smaller and more intimate interaction with our partners, and the use of Zoom reaction buttons for students' check-in and responses.
So after zooming into other sectors of the community and learning about the stories of our service interaction partners, we would like our students to zoom out and see the bigger picture. Let me now share with you what happens after the service interactions. So the formation doesn't end after the service interaction. Other departments or subject areas, especially the CLE and the guidance department use the opportunity to synergize their topics and discussions with the ideas or points presented, or with the sector of the community they encountered in the service interaction. So most of the things that we try to teach the students during the service interaction are anchored on the virtues. These virtues are always echoed to them all throughout their journey as students. With this, it now serves as a common ground which allows other subjects to easily integrate their lessons in the classroom. Synergy with the other departments and subjects also supports the ideas or topics that the CMSO try to teach the students through the service interaction, since these are further deepened and discussed in the classroom by the teachers. At the end of each service interaction, we challenge our students to be persons for and with others. Apart from giving tokens and messages of appreciation to the service interaction partners, we would like them to reflect on how they can change the world for the better, young as they are. These acts could either positively affect the lives of their service interaction partners or to help their SIPs make the community a better place. As young grade school students, we did not expect them to conceptualize and organize big projects like our students in the high school does, like organizing relief drives or fundraisers, especially in the middle of the pandemic. One of the best things that they can do is to simply live out the virtues and values that they have learned from the service interactions. Lastly, we tried our best to have the parents on board as our partners in formation, so that the learnings our students acquired in the service interaction can be reinforced at home. As we conducted our programs last year, we observed that one of the pros to online service interaction is that some parents are able to sit with their sons as they go through the service interaction. In some way, they also get exposed to the lives of the partners, and they get the chance to reflect on how their actions can positively impact the lives of others. Many parents have expressed their appreciation and support in our formation activities.
After a year of conducting service interactions online, there are a couple of things that we learned along the way. First, conducting service interactions during a pandemic is still possible. At first, we felt worried and anxious about pulling this off. There were a lot of birthing pains, but with the grace of God, we were able to make these programs possible. And it has actually opened more doors for partnerships and allowed us to be more flexible in the way we conducted our programs. We also learned that sometimes less is more. Less pakulo or palabok to have more time for quality interaction. Less applications for more efficient time and classroom management, especially for the younger students. And less screen time, but more purposeful activities. We also are challenged now to come up with more action-oriented activities, follow-up activities, and concrete actions that our students can commit to doing even after their service interaction. And finally, we would like to explore the possibility of involving the parents more, especially in the post-service interaction activities. With that, we end our presentation, and we can now entertain some questions from the audience.
Thank you so much to our speakers. So we will now be starting the Q&A portion. If you have any questions, you may raise your hand and unmute yourself when called, or type your question in the chat box. Perhaps you can provide your contact details in case they have any questions for you guys. Yes.
All right. So we'll share our email address in the chat box. If you don't have any questions, perhaps you can also share with us your thoughts Based on what you've heard, what feature or activity would you like to replicate in your own school? Or perhaps if you have suggestions or recommendations for our programs, you may also share with us through the chat box. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
hi, good afternoon. Sorry, I wasn't able to rename. My name is Jen. I'm from GB Seal. Thank you so much for your presentation. I really, admire everything you've done, specifically with service learning. And I was just thinking that I agree with towards the end, you were saying that it's become more flexible. And not only is it possible to do, but I think it made a lot more things possible, especially if you have younger children who otherwise probably won't be allowed on certain days and everything. But now because it's online and then the parents are there, parang everybody's more involved. So I was just thinking that because the way we've studied it now with online learning is that as we move towards hopefully an end to everything, hindi naman talaga babalik sa like how it was exactly before we started. So it will be a bit of a hybrid. And I was just wondering what you think from your experience with delivering this online, what would you like to continue? Kahit na pwede na mag face-to-face, kahit na, safe na lumabas, probably there are aspects of your online experience that you would still like to do. For example, maybe periodically you'll still have online sessions instead of face-to-face sessions kasi mas effective siya nung ginawa niyo online. Is there anything that you have?
Hi, Ms. Jen. Thank you very much for your question and your feedback. Personally, I would like to have more yung parang sharing of stories and more information about the sector that is being presented or introduced to our students, because in before the pandemic, although there was time for getting to know and fellowship, a lot of time is spent on playing games, which is fun for our students. But I really appreciated the practice in the lab in the past school year, where the activities are more purposeful given the limited amount of time that we have. And the students, although they are having fun, they are also learning more. So that's for me. How about the rest of the team? Do you have anything else in mind?
I also have an answer. And thank you for that question. Um, for me, I think we can still continue the practice of really exploring different service interaction partners. Because just like what was mentioned earlier, during the face-to-face implementation of service interactions, our partners are in a sense limited, because when we have to do it in school, of course, we have to consider their proximity to our school. I think the farthest that we were able to bring to school were our brothers and sisters, Aita brothers and sisters from Pampanga, wherein we still had to book their bus, bring them to school for their scheduled interaction with our students, and then send them back to Pampanga. But when we did it online, we were able to interact with the students of Ateneo de Davao. We even got in contact with indigenous peoples in Mindanao through Cartwheel Foundation. And the opportunities are really limitless when it comes to contacting service interaction partners.